Hello everyone, and welcome back to Harlan is in Danger. I'm your host, Tom, and joining me as always, as at least most of the time, I guess I do the Saturday videos on my own right now, is my good friend and co-host, Mitch.
Hi, I'm also here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's fun to say that.
Yeah, it is. It's a good little tag. We should really start thinking about like what we say at the end of videos too, because right now we just kind of mutter goodbyes for a while.
Go,
We need like
go
we
away.
need a closing line. Like we got our opening line down at this point, but yeah.
All right, we'll try it next episode. I'm down.
Yeah, okay, we'll figure something out. Cool. Anyway, sorry. We're talking about the Curse of the Rougarou story cards today, and basically how much we're costing all of them for if you earn them during the progression challenge. Yes.
Yes, and we're also going to do this for all the standalones because we realized that we were only doing the ones for the cards that we had access to, and just like to hell with everybody else. So sorry about that. So now we're just going to go through all the standalones and give our final take on what you should spend to put them into your card pool, and then how much they cost after that point.
Yes. And a couple caveats here. So, obviously, there's going to be some spoilers for Curse of the Rougarou or whatever scenario we're covering on the day, because we are going to be evaluating how difficult it is to get the card in part of that cost. And what's the other caveat that I had? We might not have played with some of these cards. So some of these might just be spot takes. If we get something wrong and we're like, hey, this card seems awful and actually it's broken, please let us know and we'll look at it again later.
Yeah, and just to be clear, when you're doing your own progression challenge, you can just make up your own XP cost of what you think is best, and we'd love to hear how that works. So our cost is just one of many possible options you could use. This is the one that we're going to go with. And in fact, we haven't always decided on all of them, so there might be a little bit of back and forth debating, and you can see how that goes down. So some behind the scenes featurette, if you will.
Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and start with our first card. So first up, we're gonna have going too far. Lady Esprit, who I'm gonna read the card out loud, so we just have a clear baseline of this. So she is a 4-cost asset. She has a willpower, intellect, and wild icon, ally, and sorcerer traits, and as an action, you can exhaust Lady Esprit and deal her 1 horror, heal 2 damage, or gain 2 resources. Any investigator at Lady Esprit's location may activate this ability. She soaks for 2 meat and 4 brain, and she takes up the ally slot. So we're starting out with an easy one, because we've kind of already priced her at 1 VP. And I'm playing through her in Forgotten Age right now in my Safina deck, and I gotta say, that's probably about right.
Yeah, she's not that great. She's really expensive. It's 4 resources. She takes up your ally slot. Then it does take an action to activate her. You can get the money back, but let's say you did that twice, then you would just have recouped your losses. So you'd effectively spent like 3 actions to get a 2-1 soak or 2-2 soak at that point. So yeah, and that's like action. That's a lot of actions, and I mean there is some nice tech with her in that you can have other investigators at your location trigger her ability. That's really cool, and really I think you're taking her to do the damage healing, which if you're playing Forgotten Age makes a lot of sense. But you also have to get up to that 4 cost to get her in play, and then you only get 1 copy. So yeah, I still think 1 is appropriate for her.
Yeah, and I will say also I think because we got her in our Dunwich run. We've been playing her through Forgotten Age. I still think I've only used her ability once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
Like
it's hard to trigger. It's hard to find the room to just do that.
Yeah. Like she's good soak. Like you can soak for her, and that's nice. Is that worth 4 resources? Sometimes. Yes, actually. Sometimes it is worth 4 resources. So like again, I think the one cost is pretty good. So yeah, I think we're pretty much done with this conversation. We can probably move on to the next one. But
yeah, I mean, she's in that super competitive ally slot, so I can't really see her costing more XP than 1.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pause the recording. We're gonna write up our notes on this, and then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, and we're back. So here is our thoughts. So pros, she's got a lot of soak, and other gators can use her. Cons, she's big cost and situational and action intensive. So we're gonna price her at 1 VP. Done. Moving on to the next one.
Stamping it in.
All right. So
Can
next,
never be changed now, ever.
next we have Monstrous Transformation and Curse the Rougarou, and just like with Lady Esprit, I'm going to read both these cards real quick. So first we have Monstrous Transformation. It is a 0-cost asset that is a talent traded and fast. It has the text, set the base value of your willpower and intellect to 2, and set the base value of your combat and agility to 5. As an action, you can exhaust Monstrous Transformation. To fight, you deal +1 damage for this attack. Curse of the Rougarou is a treachery-based weakness with a curse trait. Has Revelation, put it into your threat area, and forced at the end of your turn. If you have not dealt any damage this turn, take 1 horror. So the reason we put these two together is we think that, first and foremost, these are going to come as a pair. So if you buy Monstrous Transformation, you're going to also have to include Curse of the Rougarou in your deck. Kind of like a bonded card, but it starts in your deck. So if you draw it before Monstrous Transformation, you're in trouble.
That's too bad. Yeah, you'll have to just deal with it. So...
Go ahead. You go. I've been talking.
Well, I was going to say, so I've not actually played with Monstrous Transformation. I can never seem to get it when I play Rougarou, and so I don't know. It's harder to evaluate without experience, but there is a lot of pros on the card, and the main thing is when I initially look at it, I'm like, oh well, that's terrible if you're in solo, because you'd have to build a really weird deck that can get clues and survive treacheries with the 2 willpower and 2 intellect. But if you're in multiplayer and you're just a fighter, I mean, that's pretty much all you're gonna need.
Yeah.
And the only thing you'd have to do is shore up lots of healing. So you would do a deck that heals horror and deals lots of damage.
Yeah. And I think when you are considering taking this as the primary fighter, that's kind of when it gets spicy, because this is a talent. It's slotless. It doesn't take up it's a weapon that doesn't take up your slots for your guns or your machetes or your, I don't know, sword canes or shrivelings or whatever you're fighting with. You can still don't fight with shriveling or sword cane with Monstrous Transformation. But I mean, the point is, you still could. You could do that, and that could be your plan in case you don't draw Monstrous Transformation. It does sort of take up a slot kind of at that point, but not really. You could just not play it until you've, used your shriveling charges, and then you're just like, bam, it's down. I'm going to be fine. Whatever. It's a really good card. I have played with it, and it kind of just the downside of having to include Curse of the Rougarou, I think, does balance it somewhat, because if you draw this first, you're just like, oh crap, I'm not getting rid of this. I'm just going to take horror for days. So you do kind of have to build into a sort of flexible healer or fighter instead of just a fighter. But then you get the Monstrous Transformation, you're like, I kill everything all the time, and Curse of the Rougarou doesn't even do anything.
Yeah, and there's also something to be said for, unlike Strange Solution, you actually have to work pretty hard to get this card, but it will only be in one campaign, because then you would have it unlocked for all future campaigns, and then you would just buy it and put it into your deck.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes it really difficult to evaluate.
Yeah. All right, so what do you think?
It's a very odd card. It's fast. It doesn't cost you resources. Turn 1, you slap this down. You're ready to kill anything that moves, pretty much. I mean, it does exhaust for the attack, but that's about it. And you have all your resources, all your actions to play some asset to help you. I mean, even if all you put was a physical training down, you'd probably be fine for the rest of the scenario. And I think that's where the true power is coming in, is that you could really pair it with virtually any other combat or damage buffing card, and then you're just kind of set.
Yeah. And
as long as you have a little bit of horror healing, you're good to go.
Yeah. So what are you thinking for cost?
I think you've talked me around to it. I think a minimum of 4.
I was ready to have an argument with you. So yeah, okay, I agree. I think this should be 4. I think I was watching as you were listing its pros. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have so many things to say when we're arguing about between 3 and 4. But I mean, yes, granted, it's difficult to get in the scenario that you get it in, but
Yeah.
if it's a shoot the moon kind of reward, like
Hmm.
I still think it should still cost something that's pretty. It should still cost 4, like even if you're shooting the moon for
Yeah.
it. Like paying 4 for this is still pretty good, and paying 4 and including a weakness is still pretty good because the weakness is weirdly manageable. Um,
I mean, the weakness is bad, and it's really bad. And you might have a situation where you just draw the weakness, and then you have to deal with it. But I don't know. The card opens up this weird can of worms because you could put it in virtually any deck, and then suddenly you become a fighter.
yeah,
Like you could throw this in like a seeker deck or some kind of like a min deck or something like that, and then suddenly you're able to like kill everything that moves. Um, and so and again, as long as you have horror soak, which you're gonna have horror healing or horror soak, and like I get it's a real problem to deal with the weakness, like it's bad, but it's really hard to balance out the fact that you could. I just keep thinking of that scenario. You draw this turn 1, and then you don't need to work or do anything for the rest of the scenario.
yeah,
You're just kind of golden.
yeah, and like because of the way that drawing weaknesses in your opening hand works, you're more likely to see Monstrous Transformation in your opening hand than you are in Curse of the Rougarou, right?
Yeah.
Like you're the weakness is bad, but the upside of the asset is so good, and it's yeah.
Yeah. Also, how is this fast? Like, wouldn't a
I don't
transformation
know.
take you a hot minute?
I thought,
Like, if it
yeah,
takes me a minute to like pull out a pistol, wouldn't I have to be like, oh, to like transform? Like,
yeah.
it's
I
just like,
you're just. Well, I think you've always been a monster, and it's just like, oh, fast. I'm gonna turn around, and now I'm Wolfie.
oh, so you're the monster with the trench coat and the hat,
Yeah,
and you're just walking
you
around, and
just
then
like kind of flex out of it, you know?
okay, all right, I see it now. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe you should have to discard a body slot asset or something. I don't know. Give it some cost.
Yeah, I mean, we try to avoid putting those extra stipulations because it's a little
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it just playing the cards as written. Like because the XP cost, it's kind of like with the designers talk about where it's easy to adjust on the taboo list because then you just pay the cost once and then the card can operate as is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the taboo list what they're doing now where they're changing it up, but we are not there yet. So maybe someday.
This is also just on the backs of us trying to figure out how the Springfield taboo worked. So I think we're starting to come around to the idea of like more words that are not on the card is more difficult.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pause the recording. We'll write up our pros and cons, and then we'll come back with the actual cost. All right, and we're back, and here are our thoughts all written out nice and pretty for y'all. So, pros, it's free, it's fast, it improves your other combat, and it's always playable. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yep.
That's pretty much.
Yeah, I
it.
agree.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. In the time it took us to write those up. And then cons, it does come with an early weakness, really only because we're making it come with an early weakness.
Yeah.
It makes your treacheries harder because it's lowering your willpower and your intellect. And it kind of encourages you to branch into horror healing, I guess.
Yeah, you'll want to take some of that, or some horror soak at least.
Yeah.
But anyone who can take Peter Sylvester and you're kind of like
Or like, I don't
cancel
know.
that out.
Even like if you have access to mystic cards, you could just take like a what's that card? The Clarity of Mind that comes in like is that in the core set or Dunwich? I don't remember. But like
Maybe
just
this should cost more. Maybe this is bad.
I think it's fine because it is hard to get within the confines of Curse of the Rougarou, right? Like so
It is,
that's
yeah.
the initial cost. Then at the end of the campaign you have to pay 4 VP. And
Yeah.
then to put it in another deck you pay 4 VP and add the weakness to that deck. I think
Yeah.
that's enough. People will probably still do some stupid stuff with it, but like, whatever. It's okay.
But I mean, go ham.
Yeah,
Okay.
have fun.
Harlan and Danger approves.
Yeah, this is it. This is what we would price this at. Maybe it's too cheap, but wow, maybe it's
Well,
too
if we
cheap.
could ever like actually acquire the card ourselves, we could try it and then find out.
I have played with Monstrous Transformation. I think like when you get it, it does put Curse of the Rougarou into your deck as well. So,
Okay.
and it's really good. It is really good if you're the fighter. You just like kill things. But I also don't play decks that like try to break the game very much. Like I don't really try and do that crazy combo stuff. I like just playing with jank.
Yeah.
So I think I approached it more
Jank
as like
is-
the jank angle.
Yeah, Jank is fun. Jank for the win.
Yeah, I think I actually like played it with, who was it? It was someone who could take Survivor because I was like, oh cool, I can just still use Look What I Found to get clues.
How I would play this card is I would deliberately build a deck that doesn't have any other weapons because I would just want to use like my bare claws.
Yeah.
Like in the picture. Because like, I don't know, that just it breaks like imagine if I gave this thing a sniper rifle and then he's just like
Maybe we are the wrong people to be evaluating this, and maybe this should cost more. But this is what we're going with, damn it. So all right.
Yeah, so if you don't like our hot takes, then whatever. You can respond in the comments, and I don't know, maybe we'll change it. We'll certainly take a look at it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we'll leave it for now, and we'll see how it does.
Yeah. All right. And I think that's it. That's all the cards that you can get in Curse of the Rougarou. So that's it. Thanks
right.
for watching, everyone. Us talk about how good it is to be a werewolf.
Yeah.
We'll probably do this again someday. Talk about how good it is to be a werewolf. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, hopefully.
I think we've done it before. I think we'll do it again.
All right. We'll see you next time.